Welcome to the Illuminated Page, a program for readers, writers, and ignorance fighters. Today we will be talking about books and book-related things, authors, what they do well, and how we can do those things ourselves. If you're going to eat your words, you want to make sure they have some flavor. And nothing gives our writing more flavor than dialogue. Nailing dialogue is so important. It can make or break a book. Now in fiction, to nail dialogue, we have to make sure our characters talk like real people. One mistake that a lot of authors make is they're too controlled in the way they form their dialogue. People rarely talk right from point A to point B with no interruptions, no circumlocutions, no confusion, nothing. If you are too controlled in the way you put your dialogue together, your readers will think to themselves, first of all, they'll be very aware that you are the one controlling the conversation. And second, they'll think to themselves, nobody talks like this. You know how people really talk? People interrupt and meander all the time. So make sure your characters occasionally interrupt each other, even when it's not a dangerous situation, even when they're not having an argument. Speaking of arguments, people also argue about nonsense all the time. Not to boast, but I'm really good at writing this kind of dialogue, probably because this is how I communicate most of the time. Have your characters argue about nonsense. Also, give your characters verbal tics. If you think about it, most of the people that you know, you included, have verbal tics, little phrases and little things that you say again and again and again. Your in-laws probably have them, your siblings have them, and you have them. Make sure your characters have them. If you're familiar with Anne of Green Gables, most of the characters in that book have verbal tics. Matthew, what does he say all the time? Well, now, I don't know. My favorite, though, is Rachel Lynn. That's what. You know exactly who's talking just from what they say. Another fun way to keep your dialogue interesting is to give a certain character a conversational obsession. No matter what the conversation is about, you can trust that character to drag it back to something that character talks about all the time. Classic example of this, Mr. Collins in Pride and Prejudice. Always making every conversation go back to Lady Catherine de Bourgh and Rosings Park. The windows, the drawing rooms, the fireplace. I mean, come on, Mr. Collins, who cares? Just you. And yet it makes for a fun character and some fun dialogue. Now, listen up, academics. This relates to you too. You might not write a lot of dialogue, but you can make your nonfiction more interesting by including things that readers would find interesting. I'm talking here about pop culture references, song lyrics. That can be a bit tricky because of licensing fees, but include things, no matter what you're talking about, include things that are going to help the modern reader stay connected to what you're talking about. A person who does this really well is the Australian theologian Michael F. Bird. If you've read his book on the Apostles' Creed, he references everything from Mr. Bean to the zombie apocalypse. How does he do it? You'll have to read the book to see how, but he really makes it work. He does it, and you can do it too. That's it for today's episode of The Illuminated Page. Tune in next week for more books and book-related topics. We're closer than ever to September 29th. Check out the buy link for my first book, Collapsible.